Hey everybody, Andrew here from the Bad Guitarist Podcast. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Mythos Herculean Deluxe. That's not the only reason we're here today. As you could tell from the thumbnail of this video, there's something I really hate, not necessarily about the pedal itself, but every demo I've seen for this pedal. So understandably, because of the type of circuits that are in this thing, I understand why almost, I'd say 99% of the demo clips that are out there, people are playing blues, roots rock, stuff like that. I understand because one side of this pedal has their Runstone circuit, which is their take on a blues breaker, and then the other side has the Herculean, which is Mythos' take on the Dumble style sound. And that's more of like a Zen drive style effect if you don't understand what a Dumble sounds like, because nobody does, nobody has one. So I'm not a guy that's going around playing $15,000 amps. I'm not playing, John Mayer riffs or anything. That's not me. I'm a garage rock guy. I play lo-fi music, but I really wanted a 2-in-1 overdrive. I've been a big fan of Mythos. I've been really interested in this pedal since it first came out about a year ago. And it just really disappointed me that every time I want to look up a demo of this thing, I've been looking, every couple of months, just interested, is there anything new on this that anybody's put out? And there are high-end, really good demos on this pedal. And it sounds great in the context that I've heard it in. But it doesn't sound like it translates to what would it sound like with me playing it? What would it sound like in the genres that I play? The only video I've really found that touches outside that kind of blues, roots rock kind of, jam sound, Zach from Mythos, in one of the 2 or 3 videos he's done on this pedal, he has a jam right at the end where he's going through one of their presets that they've, suggested for people, one of the suggested settings, and he goes outside the bounds of that, and he touches like 80s, 90s, kind of like hard rock sounds. And right there was enough for me to be like, okay, it's kind of getting to where I want it to be. I know this pedal has to be able to do what I want because I love the blues breaker style circuit. For what I play, a little bit of nice amp-like breakup sounds great. Now, I know you got garage rock kind of stuff. You're expecting like shitty broken amps. You're not expecting somebody to have, a Dumble sound. But honestly, on the 2 sides on this thing, I actually find myself liking the Herculean side a lot more than the Runestone side, which I expected. I bought it primarily for the Runestone, thinking that the Herculean side would be like my clean boost. It would replace the plumes on my board as like a nice like clean boost with a little bit of an EQ control. And it ended up becoming more of my primary sound when using this pedal. So I would say, the left side, which, is the Herculean, that would be my always on kind of effect to push my amp a little bit. And the Runestone side, I would use that as more of like a heavier kind of push it into, if they're stacked, can even push it into like a fuzz-like territory. Now, we're going to go over some sounds because, can't just talk about the pedal, got to play it a little bit. So in this first clip, I am using the right side, which is the Runestone. And we're going into it with the drive, just full blast. I've got the level kind of low because it's pretty much unity volume with my amp. And then you have the voice control. I have that about a little bit more than halfway. So in that first clip, I'm getting a really trebly pushed sound. I'm really driving my amp, and I'm doing this garage rock kind of punk riff with it. And to me, I think that sounds great with that particular context. Now, that might not be for everybody. It might be a little bit too trebly for some people, but it's exactly what I need, and it'll stand out in a mix for me when recording. So I really enjoy that setting. Maybe not so much in a live setting. I would probably have to crank the tone down a little bit and rely more on the treble from the amp. But I really like the balance it got me. And again, I know it's not for everybody, but for my particular context, it works. All right, so for the second setting, I'm running through the left side of the pedal, which is the Herculean side. I've got the drive down pretty low, and I've got the clarity knob cranked up, so that's more of your treble and mid control. And then the bass is up about 3/4 of the way. So in the second clip, you'll hear it's a lot more mellow. It gives me just enough breakup that I need with the reverb on the amp, and when I'm using the Bigsby on the guitar, doing some, pitch swells, it works out just great for me for that particular sound, which I use quite often. All right, so for this last clip, it's going to be a little crazy. I've got the drive cranked up on both sides. We're running the Herculean into the Runestone. I've got both knobs on the Herculean cranked up quite a bit. The clarity control is up all the way. The bass is up about 3/4 of the way. And then the voice control on the Runestone side is down pretty much all the way. So what this is going to do is result in a really cool, filtered, muffled fuzz kind of effect. Alright everybody, that's my little rant on the Mythos Herculean Deluxe. I know it's less about the pedal and more about my perception of different pedal demos in general, and how a lot of things get categorized as, a Dumble style pedal or a blues breaker, and might deter some people from actually wanting to play. And my main reason for this is I want people to be able to see a demo that is something different being played than your blues, your rock and roll, Americana kind of stuff. I want somebody to hear this pedal in a different context, and maybe this will help them decide if they want it or don't want it. Because I didn't have that reference really when I was shopping for this thing, and it really would have helped me out. Maybe a year ago I would have bought this. But it's a great pedal. Mythos is a great company. Go check them out. And look at how beautiful this finish is. Just, I think this looks better than the King of Tone. I think the color is very close. And actually, the finish color on this, they call it Ron Burgundy. That's the actual name of the paint color that they use. And I think that's just really cool. Now, I barely scratched the surface of this. There's internal dip switches. There is, the order switching between which one comes first. We messed with that a little bit at the end, but I didn't go back and forth between the two variations on that. We just did Herculean into Runestone. Now, not much else I can say about this thing. I would recommend if you, really want to try some more demos on this thing, reach out to Mythos and just ask them if they can maybe put together a few more different clips. Maybe use a PV amp or something, like a PV Bandit, something similar to what you have at home instead of, a lot of these demo guys that do kind of like the blues pedals and stuff, they're using 2 rock amps or Dumbles or something really unaffordable to the everyday person like myself. So I'm using a Fender Bassbreaker 15 in a lot of my videos, and it's more of like a Marshall style Fender amp. And to me, it does a little bit of everything from like the Blues Junior sound to the Blues Breaker and a little bit in between. Because ultimately it's a hybrid of like a Bassman and a Blues Breaker. But, it's a weird amp. It's not, something common. It's not like a twin reverb or a deluxe reverb, which I used to use earlier on in my videos. So I switch off between that and a Roland jazz chorus. So I know that's not the sound that's for everybody, but this is the style of music I play. I play noise rock, garage rock, punk music. So I think this is a great pedal for it. Might not be for everybody. It does not get to the super, super high gain distortion, but there's distortion in this thing for sure. There's fuzz in this thing. You just got to dial it in that way. So again, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below on what you think about it. Do you have any Mythos pedals? Like which ones? Which ones should I check out? And then what do you have in recommendations for a dual drive that might be better suited for my style? Because I would love to know. Other than that, we do the weekly show here on the channel, the Bad Guitarist Podcast. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. So we drop those episodes every Sunday. So we'll see you there. All right, everybody. Have a good night.